Okay, so we're going to do some seated adjustments where we left off. And the next thing we're going to adjust, we stopped with Upavishna Konasana. So remember, Upavishna Konasana, you internally rotate the femurs. Now we're going to go for Baddha Konasana, which is external rotation of the femurs. So Nora's going to sit down and let's see the state of his hip openers. Okay, all right. So he may not need a cushion. So how will you know when someone needs a cushion? Okay, so, okay, 1 second. We're gonna mute other people. Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, so sit down, Nord, again, without the cushion. Okay, now, if his back is rounding, see his back is rounding, face sideways, they can see. He needs a cushion. So what does a cushion do? The cushion will anterior tilt his pelvis. So right now he's in posterior tilt. That's why it's rounded. And when you put the cushion on, it's going to tilt your pelvis the other way to help him to open his hips better. So because he's rounding, we're going to make him sit on something. And now he can keep his back straight, which is going to help him get into the pose. So this is why the cushion is there, to get his butt to tilt anteriorly like that, instead of the other way. Because then if I bend him forward with a posteriorly tilted pelvis, what's going to happen? His upper back will get the stretch and not his lower back and groin like we want. So now that we've fixed his pelvis, we can adjust him safely and know that he's going to get it in the right place. 2 adjustments that need to be made. Okay, Nord, is that okay? 2 adjustments need to be made. The first adjustment that needs to be made is the forward bend. So we need to bend him from his lower spine. But the second adjustment that needs to be made here is an externally rotated hip. Okay, so I will do the external rotation first by taking my hands on his thighs, rolling his thighs backwards as I press down. So notice I'm not pressing against the knee, because if I just push his knee down, what's going to happen is he's going to rotate his femurs and not actually open the hip. And so what's going to happen is the knee is going to rotate. Knees really don't enjoy rotating much. So we need to make sure that the hand is away from the knee, because if I press him here, he'll just be twisting his knee. It happened again. I don't know why that keeps happening. Okay, so we don't want him to twist his knee. We want his femur to rotate. Okay. As long as the screen is. Okay, but it's okay because they're going to. Okay. All right. So I'm going to press him down and I'm going to externally rotate him. Okay, and that might be one adjustment I make. I might do them separately. Okay, so I might just do that, and he's going to reach forward and go into Tarasana. So extend your body forward, and I'm just going to continue to externally rotate his femurs as he comes down. And that might be what he needs the most, and therefore I'm just going to assist him with that. However, another adjustment, stay down. Another adjustment now that we can make is the standard forward bend adjustment. So hands are on lower back, pushing diagonally forward to get him to move down. Or one hand on his lower back, one hand right above it, before his ribs, and again, diagonally forward and down. What if I want to do both at the same time? It is possible, and let me show you how I like to do it. This one, you need to practice a little bit and be confident. Otherwise, just do the ones I've told you. 1, 2. Okay, because this one, if you're going to do them both, you put your hands on the thighs, external rotate the thighs as you press down, tuck in your toes, put your knees not on his spine, but on the 2 mounds of flesh beside his spine, and push him diagonally and forward. How does that feel? So now I'm opening his hips and I'm working on his forward bend as well. There's another way of doing it, but I'm not a very big fan of it because it's so close contact. At least this one is not so close contact. But the traditional one is you spread the thighs, you press down, you take your belly and you push against them like that. So I find that one is a little bit too close contact for the Middle East region. Yeah, it's very sensual also. And, you know, either you want to have more opposite sex clients or not, you know what I mean? So it's not, I don't feel it's very professional. Yeah. But anyway, there you have it. Okay, so that's Baddha Konasana. Let's do the opposite now. So I'm going to turn him around and we're going to do Gomukhasana or cow face pose. So give your thighs a break. And I might ask him to sit on something. Okay, so he's going to face forward first without any prop so we can see. And he's going to go into the cow face pose. Okay. So again, if he was rounding his spine, then he would need a prop. So if you see someone rounded in the spine, again, we need to put a block underneath their butt. So I'm putting a block underneath his butt to raise him up a little bit so he can have his spine straight. So the stretch in Gomukhasana is here on the sides of the thighs. So we're going to save questions for these two poses after I'm done presenting them both. Okay, and then you can ask questions. So here in the glutes area is where the stretch is. So we're stretching the abductors. So these are the abductors, the ones that raise the leg. It's basically the butt area and allows external rotation. So Gomukhasana is a stretch for these abductors. And Shanti is helping to adjust him. Okay. So to give him a better stretch, I want to take my hands to his thighs and I'm just going to press his thighs closer together. Okay. I don't want to pull his lower legs because the knee will be affected. So that you don't affect the knee, one hand on the top thigh, on the upper femur, one hand on the lower thigh and squeeze the thighs together. Okay, so if their knees don't line up, that indicates their butt is tight, and that's fine. So if they're like this, it means their butt is tight, and then you would try and squeeze the thighs closer together to help improve the stretch. Okay, and then if he wants to lean forward, then again, it's the same thing. Stick the butt out, lean forward, but this time, again, the standard lower back stretch of pushing one hand on lower back, one hand on middle back, and reaching diagonally forward. What I wouldn't do is pull on the feet because that's going to tense the knee. We don't want to tense the knee.
See the
so you
video.
don't pull on the feet, you don't pull on the lower legs, you use the thighs. Okay, slowly come up. Now, if he's going to do the version where you got the elbow up, so change sides. Okay.
Pee-wee, I cannot see the video.
1 second. We just need to reconnect the video again. We're going to, okay. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna make sure it doesn't happen that way anymore. Okay.
So it will be a little bit more laggy, but we'll not do that.
Yeah. Is there something we can do about it by tomorrow so this doesn't happen anymore?
Your computer.
My computer, okay. So you take it home tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll install that.
Okay. So let's go back into cow face pose. And now we're going to adjust the arms. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to show you from the front and from the side. Okay. So if the right knee is on top, it's the left elbow that goes up. Okay. So the right arm is down. Okay. Now, most people can't do this. So he's going to face side, behind so you can see. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so you've got that. Okay, so what to do about that? This shoulder is rolled in. That's why he cannot bind. And it usually because of tight pectoralis muscle. So what I'm going to have him do is lift his shoulder up and back. So now I've opened his chest. And as you can see, now he can grab hold. Whereas before he couldn't do it because his shoulder was rolled in. Okay, and it's hard to get the bind with your shoulder rolled in. So you need to lift the shoulder and roll it back and then try to get into it, and they're going to be at a different angle. So if I want to help him, I'm going to put one hand on this shoulder and one hand on the other shoulder, and I'm just going to squeeze them together a little bit more. There you go. You all right?
Yeah,
So now it's a tighter bind. How do you feel about that?
I did not know I can do this.
He didn't know he could do this.
Pee Wee, can you please
So
show
let's
it in
recap on the
front?
other side. Can you do it on the other side? Okay. Okay. So let's say that he changed sides.
Facing, yeah.
So again, he's having a hard time. The shoulder is rolled in. So don't bind yet. Lift your shoulder up and then back, and now try it. Okay. And now he can reach. And then if I want to adjust him, again, one hand here, press in. There you go. And that's it for you. Yeah? Okay, now you know you can do it. And if I wanted to help him more, I would give him like a towel or a strap. Okay, but again, you're doing this, pressing in, but only after you roll the shoulder back. Okay. There you go. So these are the different adjustments that we can do for Gomukhasana. So now I'm going to put the headphones on, and you can ask me questions about Baddha Konasana and Gomukhasana. So if you want to ask me a question, just unmute the mic. Okay. Okay. Yes, Ute. Okay, and then Nasima, you're next.
I have a person. If it's very hard on one side to pull your leg over the other, which is the right leg does not love to come over the left one, and the knee is sticking out like a pillar, how do I work on my inner thigh to release this tension to be softer in the future again?
Okay, so are you talking about the first asana or the second one? Gomukhasana
sorry,
or
Gomukhasana.
Gomukhasana?
The legs
So,
over each
so
other.
you can't get them over and one is sticking up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need the block already, but still.
Okay, so this indicates actually tight butt. It's the butt that's tight. It's not the inner thigh, it's the butt. Okay, so we can stretch the glutes in a more free-flowing manner until they're ready for Gomukhasana. So Gomukhasana might be too hard for them. So let me show you what we can do to stretch the butt. So this move, pulling the thigh bone in, that's actually a stretch for the glutes. This is Ardha Matsyendrasana. So I'm hugging the knee towards the other side. So sideways, it looks like this. I pull the knee towards this side, and I'm stretching my glutes. So even if I twist, that's a glute stretch. Yeah. And so is this one. You can try this one. It's called the eagle twist. Put the leg here. They might not be able to do this, but they can put the leg here and then start to go down. And this is also a stretch for the glutes. So you would do those, and even this cradling of the leg, they might not be this high, they might be down here, or you might do this. And that's also going to give them a good stretch. Okay? So,
okay. Because there's
one lady. If you're not ready for the pose, just do something that's a little bit easier.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Is that good? Okay, Nasima. Yeah.
Yeah, Pee-wee, for Baddha Konasana, when we start folding and we can go all the way down the floor, but then our butt is not anymore touching the floor. Shall we go back a bit up or do something?
Yeah, because if your butt is off the floor, several reasons for that. So you externally rotated the legs, lean forward. At one point in time, if your feet are already on your torso, lifting the butt isn't going to improve the stretch. So just back up a little bit and see if it improves the stretch. To just lift up a little bit and move back and see if that improves the stretch. Otherwise, you might structurally not be able to get down without lifting your butt, depending on how your thigh bones are situated. So let me show you guys what she's talking about. Okay. So Baddha Konasana. Okay. At some point in time, I can go all the way down. And let's say I go all the way down. And after a while, I can actually lift my butt and keep on dropping down. But that's not really improving the stretch in my hips, because when you start lifting the butt, you haven't gotten lower. You just changed position. So as much as you can, you want to keep the butt on the floor and just keep tilting the hips back, which will roll the thighs out more. So tilt the hips back without lifting your butt. Okay, so again, just because you were able to go down lower doesn't mean that you've opened your hips more because you lifted your butt off the floor. So you want to keep the butt down, keep externally rotating the thighs, tilting the hips back, and keeping the butt on the ground. And if you feel you need more, let's say some people can have the butt on the ground and can already put the feet on the chest, then you would put a block under the feet and lift the toes off the floor to make it harder. Okay? Okay. Yeah.
What would be the ideal posture for this Baddha Konasana?
There's two ways to do it. Okay? So there are actually two ways to do it. If you want to open the hips more, you keep the chest open and straight. But if you want to stretch the lower back more, you round down. Ideally, for me, the safer one is to keep your chest open and straight. And that's going to take the stretch into the hips. If you round the spine, the danger here is you might overstretch the upper back if your forward bend is not that great. Okay.
So Pee-wee, the safer way is to stretch the back, lengthen the spine.
Lengthen the spine, bend from the hips.
Bend from the hips.
For a new person, for a new person, that's what you would recommend. Simply because, and then after a while, you can do the other one in round, which is great. It feels really good for the back once you have a balanced forward bend. So get the balanced forward bend first, and then start rounding.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are some, like when you are already in a cooling down or like in a seated pose, that is also a good way to relax the back and then relax the hamstring if you're just coming out from like wide-legged forward fold, right?
Yeah, to round. Yeah, it's okay to round, but make sure, because beginners will round because they have no choice.
Okay.
That's different than consciously rounding because it's possible, you know?
Okay.
Yes, Jilan.
Pee-wee, for Gomukhasana, I thought it's a hip opener pose because usually when I teach or I do it myself, I feel the stretch in my hip crease.
That might not be a stretch, that might be compression. This is your femur and the socket. This hip socket is your femur. Internally rotating, so you're hitting, your hip crease is hitting, the femur is hitting the side of the socket. That might not be a stretch at all. If you're feeling it here, because that's the direction the bone is going, your femur is hitting the side of the socket. You're actually contracting your inner thighs in Gomukhasana. The stretch is here in the buttocks.
So I shouldn't be feeling this while doing the pose?
No, you should know what it is. What is it? It's your bones hitting.
But now when you said compression, so it makes sense. But again, if I did the pose and I experienced compression in the hip crease, I shouldn't be feeling this? Or I mean,
okay, again, Nord, can I have the chair? Because it's hard to, just put the chair here. Okay, compression is not a bad thing. So it's not like you shouldn't be feeling it. It's not like you shouldn't be feeling it, but you should know what it is so you don't push too much. Because when your bones are touching, that's it. You just know what it is. It's okay to compress a little. It's not a bad thing. Yes.
I am still here. To come back to Baddha Konasana, some people say hold your toes and press your elbows into your thighs and open up more. But then if I observe students doing this, they all round up and they lose the whole nice alignment.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
Okay. Holding your toes together and pressing down with your elbows is actually contradictory. Okay.
That's my feeling too.
Yeah, so instead of keeping the feet together and pressing, you open the foot like a book, because that's actually going to help you external rotate your thigh. So it's open the feet like a book, put the elbows on the thighs, and instead of just pressing down, why not spread outward like this?
Yeah.
Okay? Spread out.
Like a pancake.
You're going to open your chest. Yeah, it's like a pancake. So I think, and I'll show you how that looks if you didn't really quite imagine that. Okay. So I will show you what she was suggesting. And a lot of people do say this, but again, if you're looking at rotation of the femur and how the foot and the femur actually go together, when you external rotate the foot, your femur external rotates more. Knowing this, instead of pressing the feet together and pressing down, which is contradictory to the structure of your leg, what you want to do is open your feet like a book. That's already, look, I haven't even touched my knees yet and they're already coming down. Yeah, and then put your elbows on your thighs and spread outward and open the chest. Spread outward and open the chest. That's going to be a lot better. If you want a self-adjustment, open your feet like a book first, lift your chest, put your hands on the thighs, fingers pointing back, roll the thighs back, and spread outward as you lean forward. So this is self-adjustment. And if I, Nord, come up to me, if I roll my thighs outward and spread back, Nord can do the forward bend adjustment on me while I rotate my thighs outward myself. You don't need to do that anymore. You just need to press my lower back and middle back and tilt me forward. Yep. Okay, so I'm opening my thighs and he's working on my lower back. Thank you. Keep going. Feels good. Okay, there you go. Okay. Let's see if we have any more questions out there. Okay. Right.
Pee-wee?
Yes.
I have a question regarding cramps.
Okay.
If our client has a cramp, are we going to learn what to do in that case?
Okay, sometimes like a muscle cramp.
Leg, shoulder, or are we going to cover this?
We probably cover it when we deal with the muscles and anatomy in module 2. So yeah, when we talk about muscles and how muscles contract and all this, then we will cover cramps in module 2.
Because
Okay.
sometimes when we're adjusting, they develop a cramp.
Okay. So when you adjust, you need to listen to the
Yes.
person's body and know when you've gone too far.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. You're just being sensitive to someone's body.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We are going to learn what to do in case the client has developed a cramp while we are adjusting, or even while he is practicing. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you will talk about muscle function. Yes, Lonica.
Yeah, two things. One thing was about the Gomukhasana. I have the same as Ute, like it's hard for my legs, for my knees to align.
Okay.
But I'd like to mention here that I think it's also to do with emotional trauma, and I feel that the more I release, the more I'm able to get into the Gomukhasana.
Okay.
More than opening my glutes.
Yeah.
I think
so that would be
they're quite open enough. I don't know.
You're talking about the psoas. So the psoas that's here, no? That if you have a lot of emotional trauma here in the psoas, iliacus part, it actually pulls the thigh bone closer into the socket and actually increases compression. So you are right in that if you are able to release the compression, release the psoas and the iliacus, and we do hold a lot of emotional trauma there, then the socket, the femur isn't shoved into the socket so hard. And it actually has more mobility. Yes, I've experienced this as well.
Mm-hmm. And also I wanted to ask you if it is okay for me. I feel now I'm teaching a lot of classes online, like 3 classes online every week.
Okay.
And sometimes I teach my kids yoga, but I feel adjusting them is a bridge too far for me to not harm them. I think it's I don't feel comfortable enough. And I was wondering, and I also put that on the WhatsApp group, is it okay to just focus on one asana to see how I can adjust and see the pose and see what's happening before I just jump and deliver all the adjustments on them?
Yeah. Before you touch them, you need to use your eyes, right? And you need to see what state they're in, so you know. Like, for example, Baddha Konasana, what's the first thing we did? We looked at posture. What's his posture? Does he need a prop? Things like that. So definitely, you don't just go and grab people. You look at where they are, and so that you know which one to do. You might not do all of them. You might just do one.
Yeah, because I was wondering for the exam. Yeah. Because I was wondering for the exam, like, are you waiting for everyone to like jump on all of the students?
No,
this pose.
No, that's not practical. I need to see your eyes working with the body of the person. And that's going to be specific to the person. I don't need to see the techniques. I need to see how you apply them. All these lovely discussions that we're having, that's what I need to see applied, not the technique of the adjustment, which may or may not be applicable to some people.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Munira.
Yeah, if a child has the habit of putting one foot inside and walking, means she needs external rotation, right?
Yes, that's right.
So, Baddha Konasana helps in this?
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes.
I want to ask if shoelace or Gomukhasana, if it's all about the hip tightness. If the knees couldn't touch or couldn't be in the right alignment, it's all about the hip only. And what if some people have knee problems or some tightness?
Okay, it will be about the hip and not the knee. If you have tightness or knee issues, that's going to mean that there you have a little pain when they do Gomukhasana. So if they're feeling pain in Gomukhasana in the knee, that means it's because the hip is not doing what it should. Yes. Okay, so you've got pain in the knee, that means the hip is not moving in the proper way, whether it's Baddha Konasana or whether it's the shoelace or Gomukhasana. If there's pain in the knee, that means there's a little bit of rotation and maybe they have an injured knee or they've rotated too far and now there's pain. So what do we need to do? We need to pull back a little, do less, and support the thighs, prop the thighs with blocks so that there's no pain in the knee. So for those people with pain in the knee, is it safe to adjust Gomukhasana and Baddha Konasana? The answer is no. So if someone's got pain in the knee in those poses, don't adjust them because you're only going to make it worse. The mere fact that they have pain means A, they're injured, B, their hips are tight. And because the hips aren't moving anymore, the knee is the one moving. So what do? Pull back a little. Don't go so far. Pull back a little and then prop up. Okay, so there you won't be hurting them by over twisting their knee anymore. Okay, so for someone with injured
just
knee,
leave
support.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. So there's no importance of being the knees alignments. No, it's okay the knees to be apart, just like the hip, yani.
Yeah, it just depends on their ability. So for some people, the knees won't be together. It's okay. Maybe that's it. Maybe you've tried adjusting them and they won't move anymore. Okay, that's fine for now. That's the best you can do for now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay.
When we press on the feet in Gomukhasana.
Okay, when you self-press on your feet.
That helps get the knees together more, right?
Yeah, if you press on the feet, it may help you put the knees together more. I suggest, though, you push your thighs together first before you adjust the feet. You start the adjustment. Let me show you how that looks. So this is self-adjustment in Gomukhasana. So self-adjustment in Gomukhasana. Can you see that? Can you check that they can see? Okay. So let's say my thighs don't quite go together. I'll use my bad side. Okay, so this is my bad side. Okay. The thighs don't go together. So instead of pulling on the feet, the first thing I'm going to do is take my hands to my femurs and I'm just going to try and press them together more like this. Okay. Sometimes there's something I like to do. I'm going to take this hand and I'm going to put it on here. And then I'm going to use my arm to push the top thigh more. See what I'm doing? I'm using my arm to push the thighs in more. So the thing with adjusting by pulling the feet is that's going to put a lot of strain in the knee. You want to first adjust the femurs before you adjust. So now I've lifted my butt to realign my thighs. And I'm pressing on my feet, then I come back down. But before that, I did this first, just to make sure that I'm adjusting from the femurs and not from the knee. Then I'll push my thighs and lift my butt and maybe reposition my butt into a more comfortable place to get into the pose. Okay, so that would be the way in which to self-adjust. I'm not a fan of pressing the thighs and knees together because, again, you might be rotating the knee. It's the same as trying to press the knees and thighs down in Baddha Konasana. So that might rotate the knee. So I'm not a fan of that. Okay. So I think that's it for Baddha Konasana. Does anyone have any questions regarding these two asanas?
just one, well, basically reiterating what you said earlier on for Gomukhasana. I mean, I've only recently, actually, in the last couple of months, been able to get my knees on top of one another. I can do it, but I have to, it takes me a little more time to do it. So sometimes if I'm actually in a class on the student side, they'll have come out of the pose before I've even got my knees lined up on top of one another. And it's like you said, if not, you just do half. You keep one leg straight and just take the top one over.
Yeah, exactly. Lower leg is straight. Yeah, lower leg is straight, and then put the, so that would be a modification if you're not that flexible yet. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Let's move on. So the next pose is Ardha Matsyendrasana, the seated twist. Okay, so doing seated twist, adjustment. Okay. So Nord's gonna go into seated twist, and again, sideways. Yeah. I need to use my eyes. Which one you want? Okay. Okay. All right. So let's use our eyes first. Okay. First thing I want to check is his butt on the ground? If he was lifting his butt, lift your butt. There. So now he's lifting his butt. I would want to put his butt down. So I take my thumb to his hip crease and I just press him down. So you want the butt to be on the ground. Okay. Now, the next thing you can do maybe is stretch his glutes a little bit more by putting your hand on the side of his femur and the other hand behind him and just creating a more tight space here. So again, I'm pressing his femur in and I'm also pressing his front shoulder in, so not on the knee but on the femur, so that it creates a tighter connection between the two. That means he's twisting more. Okay? Okay, so can you change sides so they can see? No, stay in the same way because then they can see. All right? No, twist the other way. No. Yeah, there. Oh, no, it's the same side to the other side. There we go. Okay. So again, looking from the back side what I did. So my hand is on his femur. Okay? And the other hand is here on the shoulder blade, and I'm creating a tighter. So I might pull him forward a little and create a tighter bind. Okay, so a tighter bind of those two. Trying to get the armpit and the knee to come really close to each other. And that's going to help him bind more. Stay there. What I can also do is help him twist better. So once I've done that, I'm actually going to take my foot here. My leg is here beside his torso. And I'm going to just wrap him around my leg. By taking, I'm connecting my leg to him, put my hand on his shoulder, and I wrap him around my leg. Okay, so lifting the chest and wrapping him around my leg. So let's look at that from the other side. Okay, so he'll twist. So first, tight bind, which he already has. I put my leg right up to his back. So you can see where my foot is. He's resting on my thigh. One hand here, one hand there. Wrap him towards my leg. And that's going to get him into a deeper twist. Okay, again, making sure his torso is upright before you twist him. Because if his body was rounded, it's really not optimum to twist. That being said, we will see an anatomy where when your ribs are dropped, your twist is reduced. When your chest is open, your twist is increased. And therefore, the first thing you need to check is that they're not rounding. Do a twist with a rounded spine. There. I wouldn't adjust that. The first thing I would do if someone's like that is, first of all, I would take them out of it and have them straighten their spine. Then I would tell them, inhale, reach up, and I probably pull them up a little. Okay, now twist. And then keep your chest upright. So you need to make them keep their chest upright before you do the adjustments. Don't adjust someone with a rounded spine because it's going to go into the wrong place. Where we want to rotate, rib cage primarily, and then your lumbar spine and everything else. But rib cage primarily because 45% of your twist is actually in your rib cage. maybe more than 45. 45% of your twist is here and T8 and 9. So really, you want to make sure that the chest is open before you twist them. Okay? So if you round the spine and try and twist, limited. Now open the chest, try and twist. There you go. Okay? You can see the difference between twisting with an open chest and twisting with a rounded spine. Okay. Any questions about Gomukhasana? What are we doing? Ardha Matsyendrasana.
Me.
Okay.
I have a question, Pee-wee. Is my mic on?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh. The very first thing you said was make sure that their butt cheek is down on the mat. Could they even just place a lightly folded up towel under that one butt cheek, or it's best not to do that?
If they're really...
Because you'd be like offsetting.
Okay. Yeah, they will be off center, but if they're really tight, that might be the only way they can get stable. Because you're putting the butt cheek on the ground to get stable.
Mm.
So
Okay.
if they're super duper tight, your butt is really tight, you can press them down as much as you can, and that probably, you know, if it's not helping, like let's say you press someone down and it's not working, then you would put something underneath their butt.
Okay, because in Sage Twist, I've read that you can put something under the one butt
Marichasana,
on that. Obviously, it's a different twist, but
it's a different twist because in Marichasana, your hip can lift because of the position of the foot. So and that's fine. Munira, yes, you have.
In this after but his shoulder.
Okay. Can you say it again, because the connection got stalled? So just say
this Marichasana.
Yeah.
One of the teacher hip.
Okay.
And pull this arm and make me twist. Right to do.
Okay.
Is it okay to do that?
To use the arm to press into the twist, you mean?
I'm sitting here. He's sitting in front of. Put one leg on the.
Okay. Okay. So you're sitting in front of them and you pull the arm to get them deeper into the twist, you mean? And sometimes.
Is it okay?
Well, it depends on the person. Sometimes they do that. I've seen that. Let's adjust Marichasana. Okay, let's make Marichasana the next pose to adjust, since we're doing the twists, so we have some more clarity on it. Okay, because we're talking about a different pose now. We're not talking about Ardha Matsyendrasana. So let's go back to Ardha Matsyendrasana, and then we'll adjust Marichasana poses next.
Pee-wee, can I ask you something about online adjustments? Would you advise us to give beginners self-adjustment, or better maybe to change the pose if they are not doing it?
For a beginner, I wouldn't recommend adjusting a beginner at all. Really, if you see...
I mean, not the first time. I mean, if we have a beginner who has been doing yoga with us, for example, for the past 2 months, and now they have travel, so we're continuing with an online class.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you advise then if they do a wrong pose, whatever the pose is?
Well,
self-adjustment?
A, verbally correct. B, self-adjust. But if those don't work, just change the pose. Give them something else.
Okay, so it's okay to give them the instruction for self-adjustment after the verbal, I mean. It's okay.
Yeah. If they're already understanding what you mean, and maybe you show them on yourself first, why not?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes. I want to ask about hip too. Some poses, it's okay to put cushions to let them, to help them to get to the pose easier.
Yeah.
Can this pose or shoelace is better to use a cushion or something, or better to be on the floor even if they have tight hip.
Okay, if they have a really tight hip, better to raise them because it puts a lot of strain on the knee. So if you see their back is rounded, they have tight hip, it's better to put them on a block actually. It will help to open up their hip because maybe keeping them on the floor will not open up the hip properly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's do Marichasana. Okay, so Marichasana, will start with Marichasana A, or the twist Marichasana C. Okay. Okay. Just do Marichasana A first. Okay, A is, okay, the other one is A. Really leaning forward. Okay, so Marichasana A. Okay, so first of all, so he's going to try to do it. Can you wrap your arm? Okay. All right. So if I want to adjust him, I want to take a look. And the first thing that I can say is his leg the first time was too close. Okay, and that's why his knee is so far from his armpit. Ideally, you want the space between knee and armpit to be closer. So I'll have him remove himself and I'll have him take the foot a little further away. So we want a little bit more space so that the knee and the armpit will be close to each other. And then he tries again and he goes into it. Now, if I want to improve this, the first thing I need to do is improve this space between the armpit and the knee. So what I would do is actually move him forward a little bit so that, and holding his knee in, I hold his knee in and I take his torso and I press them together more because that's going to help him bind. So now you can bind better. Yes? And if I want to help him bind, again, holding his thigh in place, I put my hands on his outer arms and I'm squeezing them closer together. So I'm improving the bind by squeezing his arms closer together. Now he's bound a little more. Do I push him down? I need to keep holding him. I take my hand to his lower back and I press him down from there. And that's it. Okay, one hand on lower back, one hand on middle back, press him down, activate your foot, and that's it. Okay, so for him, that's it. Why am I holding his knee? So that I can keep him stable so that the pressure will go into the right direction. Okay, and then I will let him go. And let's face behind and do the other leg so they can see what I just did to you. So now you can see it face diagonally. Yeah, there you go. I think so. Yeah, okay. So now let's see it from a different angle. Okay. So again, no, yeah, face behind is better. Okay. So again, see the space between his knee and his armpit. That's the first thing I want to improve. So I'm actually going to remove him and I'm going to have him step a little bit wider with his foot so that you can get a tighter gap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold his thigh and I'm going to press him towards his leg. Now he can bind better. Okay, so if you look at this bind, then you look at the first one, do the first one you did. So put your foot back where it was before. There you go. Can you see the difference? Again, now the second one. There you go. Okay. Then if I want to improve this, first I need to stabilize him by putting my thigh against his knee. And then again, I take my hands and I squeeze his arms closer together. So squeezing his arms closer together. And now if you look at his bind, it's a much tighter bind. Okay. Now after that, still holding him steady, I put one hand on the lower back and I push him forward. Okay, so one hand on the lower back, push him forward. I might even hold him steady and put one hand on lower and middle back. Okay, I'm not going to press him here. Again, we don't press here. We adjust from downstairs. And I have him activate his foot, activate your feet. Okay, and that's it. That is Marichasana A. Okay, now for Marichasana C, you notice why might the hip come up? The hip might come up because of the position of the foot. It's not here. It's on the side. So if you're twisting the other way. So because the foot is here on this side, the hip may come up. And again, if the hip comes up, what do? We put something underneath the butt. Maybe one butt cheek because only one hip's coming up. So you're twisting this way. Okay. So same principles. First, we close the gap between your armpit and the knee. So if he has a hard time closing the gap, I hold him here and I hold him here and I bring him closer to his legs. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is he might try and bind, but he can't do it. So I'm going to, again, take my hands here and I'm going to squeeze his arms closer together until he can do it. Okay, and if he can't do it, that's fine. Okay, you just try to use a towel and go as far as you can. Now, put your leg facing that way. And now do Marchasana on the other side. Yes, this knee is bent. So let's see that again. So first, I need to improve the space between his armpit and his knee. So keep a space between your foot and the thigh. And then close the gap between your armpit and your knee. So I might need to push him towards his knee to close the gap. Okay, then he tries to bind. Maybe he can. Maybe he needs a little bit of help. So I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to squeeze his arms closer together so that he can bind. I might hold him up if he's falling over. Okay, and that's it. Okay, and then release. Okay, so if someone is really far from getting into the pose for Marchasana A or C, I wouldn't actually adjust them. I just give them a towel to hold. You know, you only start adjusting people in Marchasana if they can almost do it. Otherwise, sit on a block, use this strap. You know, I wouldn't adjust someone unless they're almost there. Okay. Any question? Okay, your chances of adjusting people in Marchasana are much less than the chances of you adjusting someone into Ardha Matsyendrasana. Because more people can do that one. So more people can get adjusted. Less people can do Marchasana. Okay, unless you work exclusively with intermediate practitioners. Okay. All good? Okay. All right. So if there are no questions, and doesn't look like there are any, let's move on to something maybe a little bit more practical, yeah, in terms of the twist, okay? So let's do a supine twist. Have we done Paschimottanasana yet? Yeah, we have. Okay, let's do a supine twist. Okay, this one is fun to adjust. People really love it. Okay, so Nord's gonna lie down on his back and we're gonna do a supine twist. Okay, sideways. That way. Okay. All right. So, no Shanti. Okay, so just throw one leg over. Okay. Open your hands wide and then go down. Okay. So, does the knee have to hit the floor? Depends on the body proportion. Does the shoulder have to hit the floor? Depends on several things. Could be shoulder mobility, chest flexibility, and body proportion. Okay, so don't worry about that. But what we can do is improve the twist. So I'm going to put one hand on his chest, okay, pectoralis muscle, and the other hand right by the connection between his femur and his pelvis. And then I press down his chest muscle and I push his butt away. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is the twist. So I'm not holding him here. I'm holding him close to the center of his spine. And then I'm spreading his chest muscle towards the ground, spreading his chest muscle towards the ground. Okay, whether his chest hits his shoulder hits the ground or not may not be in his control. So you might use a cushion and put it under the shoulder, which will feel much better, especially if he's got a really, really tight chest muscle. And putting a cushion underneath the shoulder really helps a lot. Okay, and so now let's go to the other side. Get out of the way, cat. Okay, so you can see a little bit more what's happening to his shoulder. Lift the shoulder, that's it. So if someone's got the shoulder this tight and it won't move down, it might be uncomfortable even for his neck. What I might do is just go ahead and support it, okay, before I adjust. Otherwise, it might be just too much. Hand here, where the femur hits the side of the socket in the pelvis. This is called the greater trochanter area. So I'm here, and then I'm here. Shanti, what are you doing? She's nesting in your shirt. Okay. So one hand here on the greater trochanter area, one hand on the pectoralis muscle, and I press down and I push away. So chest part pressing down and pushing the thigh away. Okay. That being said, there are 3 different kinds of twists. You have a forward bend twist, a back bend twist, and a neutral twist. So I'm going to show a forward bend twist. Lie down. This is the one we did this morning. So first, he's going to bring his knees to his chest. So the spine is in flexion. With the spine in flexion, he's going to twist. And so if you look at the lower part of his spine, he's actually rounded. He's in a forward bend as he's twisting. This is really nice to release the lower back. So being in flexion and twisting. Okay, it's a really nice, if someone's got a tight lower back, this is the kind of twist you want to do because it's going to help them feel better. Again, let's recap. Come back to the center. And notice how he's in flexion before he goes into the twist. So again, the bottom of his spine is in a forward bend. The bottom of his spine, Shanti, is in a forward bend. Okay. Let's now go to the neutral twist, which is the second one that we did today. So for him to be completely neutral, if his knees are going to the left, first thing he's going to do is shift his hips to the right, extend one leg, and then twist. Now he's more or less straight. Okay, so his spine is straight. Again, coming back to the center. If he wants to bend the other way, first he shifts his hips the opposite direction. So now when he goes into the twist, he's got a straight line from his heel to his hip to his neck. It's one straight line. That's a neutral twist. Okay. A back bend twist is like doing dancer's pose sideways. So, no, come back. So first throw the leg over. Now, the lower leg, you're going to bend it and you're going to grab hold. And you're going to kick it back. There. Now you're in a back bend as you twist. Got it? Have you ever done this before? No. Okay. So you're kicking the lower leg back. So what's happening here is he's grabbing hold of the lower leg and he's kicking it back as he twists. So let me show you how that looks. Okay. Do it the other way. Oh, it's the other camera. Shit. Okay. Okay. So you want to do the other side? Can I bring this? Is this better? There you go. Now you can see what's happening. Kick the leg back, open the chest. Can you see what's happening here? So if you notice, his back is a little bit arched as he twists. So that's what we call a back bend twist. Okay. So just be aware that those 3 different kinds of twists are going to feel differently. What is a back bend twist for? It opens up the spine as you twist. And in fact, if someone's got a herniated disc, the back bend twist is probably the safest one. or the neutral one. You wouldn't do a forward bend twist on someone with herniated discs, which we'll talk about when we talk about herniated discs and how to keep people safe in classes. Any questions about the supine twist?
Yes, Pee-wee. I don't know if it's maybe a big subject, but I don't see the difference between tightness in the chest, sorry, in the shoulder, and the mobility.
Yeah, okay.
How can you see?
Okay. The tightness that we were dealing with in the twist is basically the pectoralis muscle, the chest muscle. So if someone's got a tight shoulder, see how my arm bone is pointing up? If someone has a tight shoulder, usually it's the pectoralis muscle that's tight. You will see their arm bone angle. This is a tight shoulder. And from the front, it looks like this. Okay? So look at the difference between my two shoulders. This is tight chest muscle. And causing mobility, it's a little bit poor because the chest muscle is so tight. Once you're able to release those chest muscles, you have more mobility in your shoulder. Okay. Ouch. She like what? Okay. Yes, Ute.
I have been taught in the first demonstration you did, when you pushed on the trochanter area and the upper shoulder,
yeah,
I have been told to do it the diagonal way.
Okay.
The upper shoulder and the opposite to get a long stretch. Yeah.
So you hold the opposite shoulder and it is diagonal, but it's the same side because they're twisting.
Yes, because you push the outer hip, if you want so, down, and the
upper
shoulder
hip
that tends
and
to
the
lift.
shoulder on that tends to lift up. Yeah, that's right.
It feels good.
It's actually the same side of the body, and it is diagonal. But it's the same side of the body.
Yes, for example, the right shoulder and the left hip.
Where would you bring the left hip? Because that's the lower one, right? That would be the lower hip, the hip down.
So if you take the hip, push it away and push the shoulder up. It's really nice because you get the opening and a wonderful stretch.
Let's try it. I've never seen that. Lie down, Nord.
Thank you.
Just do a supine twist again. Okay, let's try it because so you're going to the twist, supine twist. So I would press down his lower leg.
No, now you press down the left hip and the right shoulder away from each other. Right shoulder.
Wait. Let me try it. You tell me, thumbs up me if it's right, okay? Thumbs up me if it's right.
Okay.
Okay. Shanti! Okay. So this hip and this shoulder spread away from each other like this. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
How does that feel? Okay. So what's happening is you're dropping the hip a little bit, creating space in the hip.
Feel the lower back.
How does your lower back feel when you do that? Feels nice. So lower back feels really nice.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. So the way we did it before was this one and then that way. Yeah, it's different. So can you share the difference between the two?
So this one, the first one feels like my spine vertebra expand on each other.
So the one Ute that you were saying, his vertebra feels like they're lengthening away from each other. So it's exactly fine. Okay, so the second one.
And with the second one, then I feel more of a twist.
And the second one,
it's like they're getting further away in this fashion rather than in this.
Yeah, so it's improving the twist. So they feel both different in the back, and I think you can both use them together. And I think that yours should be first so that you create more space. And then after you've created more space, then you can use all that space to twist. And I think that would be the best result.
Sounds like a great combination.
I'm going to put on
Great
the mic, the earphones again. Who would like to ask another question? Yes, oh.
The other arm, if on the second one, is it on top of the shoulders or on top of the upper arm?
Here on the pectoralis part. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to put it here. Okay,
Yeah,
you want to
in
adjust
front of the shoulders.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, oh.
For the first one, for your version that you push one hand on the hips, right? For the Thai massage, we put hands on the femur,
okay.
on the thigh.
Femur.
Is it, yeah? Is it gonna feel the same way?
Maybe not, because the one with the hand on the hip, your hands are in the axis of the body. Whereas if you put your hand on the thigh, it's a little bit on the extremity. Whereas the one hand on the hip will move through the spine more. One hand in the femur will probably give your thigh a stretch as well, or the glutes probably will get the stretch. If you put your hand on your the femur and push down, you're also stretching the butt.
So which no harm.
Okay. No,
is it harmful?
They're both okay. What do you want to do? Do you want to give them a stretch in the butt, or do you want to twist them more? So you decide which one. If I want to stretch the butt more, I put my hand on the femur, butt stretches more. If I want to just give them a cleaner twist, then I will put my hand further up so that I can work on, manipulating the vertebra of the spine.
Okay, thank you. Another question, for the back bend twist, if I have the higher leg straight, instead of bend the higher leg,
the upper leg is straight.
Would that be deeper? Yes.
Well, if they have good hamstrings, then it would open their hamstring as well, which might feel really good. But if they don't have the hamstrings for it, they probably won't be able to do it. So if you've got someone with more flexibility, they probably enjoy that more if you keep the upper leg straight. Maybe grab the toes with your hand.
Or hold the belt with the belt or with the
Okay,
strap.
well, first of all, if you want to add a hamstring stretch to the back bend twist, then keep the upper leg straight. But if hamstring stretching is not your priority, then just bend the knee. So it just, again, it depends on what you want. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, what time is it?
It's around 9.
It's around 9. Okay. Okay. I hope you're finding these discussions on the poses helpful. And please feel free to connect in the group if anything else comes up. Remember, you're supposed to be practicing them somehow. And remember, practicing doesn't mean doing all of them. It means using your eyes to look at the body, see which one they need. Do they need a correction? Thank you, Shama, for giving a feedback on that they're helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, so remember, find someone to adjust, but look at their body and see which one they need. Okay, and if you run into any issues, just give me, whatever the issue is, and we'll try to work it out. Put it on the group so that everyone can learn. Munira, I still owe you feedback on your shoulder, and I'm getting to it. I just had a busy day, but I'm getting to it. Okay.
When is the lesson to be posted in the group?
Wait, 1 second, Munira, yes?
The link, when is the link for today's will be available in YouTube?
When will the link be available for today's session?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, said the tech guy. Okay, yes,
Okay,
Munira.
thank you.
Munira, go ahead.
Yeah, PV, I took medication, but still there's like tightness over here. because of the medicine right now, I don't feel so much pain.
So that's C7. That's C6, C7. Okay, so that's where you're feeling the pain a lot.
Yes, and like here, even this, you know.
Okay, I have some advice for you is avoid shoulder stand.
Okay.
Shoulder stand, it looks like shoulder stand is the one that's aggravating it. So if you're going to do a shoulder stand, because if you pointed at the shoulder and the C7, that usually indicates that maybe when you're getting into the shoulder stand, there's a lot of pressure on that joint. And for some reason that's happening now, you might want to put the feet on the wall in shoulder stand so that not all of the weight is going to this area, or put some cushions or a blanket underneath your shoulders with the head on the floor so that you're not putting a lot of pressure on that part of your neck. Because when that part of your neck and the nerve pinches, you will feel it in your arm and shoulder, especially here in the back of the shoulder, you will feel it.
That I always do. I have been keeping, like from our 200 hours,
yeah,
I have been keeping a blanket or a cushion underneath my shoulders.
Perhaps we need to even start taking the weight off of that joint.
Okay.
Okay, start taking the weight off of the joint even more.
It's like, even here, right now, you know, there's a piercing pain here.
Yeah, that could be overstretching. It sounds like overstretching. And when you do this, it gets worse, yes?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, when you do this, does it get better? So let me show you. Does it get better? And you put your hands behind your head and you press against your head. Does it get better when you do this?
This is good, but then the pain here.
Okay, well, that's another thing. That's another.
But these two are not connected?
No, they're not. They're not. This one is connected to, up higher is connected to your deltoid, like see this guy. So what you want to do is take your hands and press against your head. So press the hands against the head, then push the head back against the hands and lift your chest.
Yeah, that feels good.
That feels good. And it doesn't hurt anymore here, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Then that's the way to do it. Okay, so you've overstretched your C7 and the rhomboids and the muscles between the shoulder blades, and that's why it's hurting. So it's the shoulder stand. Shoulder stand actually injures more people than the headstand because more people can do it. So more people can get injured, especially if you're compressing your C7 and have a rounded shoulders getting into the shoulder stand. That's going to injure you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for the energy today. We apologize for the technical issues with the Nord is saying sorry. we'll work on it. So tomorrow we're switching laptops and hopefully it's gonna get better. So thank you very much, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pee-wee.
See you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.